so he'll make the catch. And there are 3 outs in the inning, as we'll keep it here, as we had a bit of a disruption in the stream as we try to get some of the technical issues worked out early in the season on the stream. We appreciate you sticking with us here on the Mariners YouTube network. We'll recap that inning for you. Why not? Brooks Lee leading off in the inning in the top of the third, flew out to right to open it up, and it was the first at-bat, first out of the game, I should say, that was recorded by the defense for Harwich, not by the strikeout.
Yep. So I was going to say, the first 6 outs for strikeouts, and then finally, again, getting his defense involved there.
Shawver not wasting too much time to get back to his old ways, though, as he then got the next batter in Ferreras to strike out, looking for his 7th strikeout of the day. And then flying out towards left to end the inning just then was Nathan Baez, as you may have just seen. So the next batters up for YD in the top of the 4th are going to be Peyton Graham, Cade Hunter, and Tyler Williams.
But for the time being, it'll be the Harwich Mariners up to bat, looking to make something happen on the offensive end. And for as good as Shawver's been, Thorpe so far has given up just the 3 hits, has not allowed anybody to get past second base in this game. So Harwich will be looking for that all-inclusive first run, as we are all knotted up on the scoreboard. 3 hits apiece, no runs, no errors for either team.
Yeah, and it was some pretty good pitching yesterday from YD. I mean, they had a bit of a tough third inning, I believe it was. Gave up a few runs, but aside from that, didn't look too bad. Their starter yesterday, Luis Ramirez out of Long Beach State, pitched 5 complete innings, gave up only 1 earned run, walked 1, and struck out 6. And so some more good pitching from YD, a good sign for the Red Sox early in the season. As the new batter now in for the Mariners. Back to the top of the order, it's Nick Lucky, the center fielder, grounded out to short to open up the home half of the first inning. Second pitch in for a strike. Count now 1-1.
One more thing to highlight here at White House Field. We talked about the new scoreboard, but also new lights. And you can tell, I mean, it's going to look really good here in a few hours once everything dies down light-wise, but certainly a new excitement, or an exciting new feature here at White House Field.
This count now is 1-2, and it's good you mentioned that. I thought it was genuinely just getting brighter out, like perhaps the clouds were giving way a bit, but no, the lights are on, and they are in full power here. As this one off at the end of the bat from Lucky, Ferreras throws on to first in time for the out, and there's 1 down in the third.
You know, it's interesting because we talk about it again, the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's the premier destination for future draft picks. It's the way that guys can increase their stock. But, you know, when you really break it down, this is a local league, and most of these teams are playing at high schools. So you've got situations like in Brewster, you know, you can have a game called due to darkness because there are no lights. Of course, some interesting little hazards when you go to Wareham. But yeah, no, anything that the community can do to kind of bolster it, it's really good to see the Harwich community come together and build a gorgeous field here at White House, not only for the Mariners, but as you mentioned before, for Monomoy High School.
And I think that's kind of the beauty of the Cape League, as there are so many things that are admirable about how it operates. You know, it's not this grand stage. It's very a casual environment. It draws plenty of fans, but humbles the players a bit, you could say. As the ball skied out towards center, that's going to be settled underneath by Williams. He makes the catch. 2 down now in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, that'll bring up Cade Beloso. Just to kind of finish your point there, I mean, again, talk about Orleans, one of the most gorgeous parks, Eldridge Park, of course, one of the premier destinations. They don't have bleachers for the most part. It's fill the hill. You know, it's a grassy hill that everybody brings their own seating, and again, that's a part of it. So there is definitely that small-town charm to one of the biggest summer leagues in the country here in the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Pure Americana, as I've heard it described. First pitch dealt into Beloso, hits for a strike.
Of course, you also get to experience the local culture. Every place here on the Cape kind of has a little something going for it. Unique ballpark foods.
And YD, one of those teams with a unique ballpark food. They have the donut burger.
Have you had a donut burger?
I have not.
Okay. I mean, I felt like I had to ask because you hadn't had a lobster roll until yesterday. We had to fix that little problem.
A little embarrassed to admit that, as this ball just bloops out into the shallow outfield beyond the reach of Brooks Lee, as he was pacing back, could not make the catch. So a 2-out single for Cade Beloso. He's on with Andrew Jenkins now coming up to bat.
Well, let's hear it. What's the review on the famed Cape Cod lobster rolls?
Cape Cod lobster roll, pretty good.
All
pretty
right.
excellent. I mean, honestly, hard to go wrong on the Cape, of course.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting. You get a lot of Cape guys from the deep south, from just different parts of the country. You know, guys, Louisiana, they want gumbo. And or perhaps a guy just says, oh, you know, I want McDonald's, something easy, some fast food. You don't get a whole lot of that around here.
Nope.
A lot of seafood here in Massachusetts.
And a lot of local businesses, too, which I think is another thing that makes it unique. You don't have the same big box stores that you do in every other city and every other area of the country. It really is local. Even the banks. I mean, you've got Cape Cod 5 that dominates it out here. You won't find a big chain bank, really, on the Cape. So, again, it is certainly a different feel for some of these guys, especially guys that play in bigger cities. But I think I'd say I'm pretty confident about 90 to 95% of the guys really do fall in love with it throughout the year.
Certainly. I mean, it really does have its charm, as this ball down in the dirt, protected well by Cade Hunter, doesn't let it get away from him too far. Count moves to 2-0. And that's why it's so important that this is back. It's just such a small community that it relies on the traffic that this league generates. I mean, you get people who will fly in from around the country to help out and see the talent here, see the players that they know back from their teams, and then people who just live here over the summer who come back and, you know, they become a part of the community. And so it is really, you cannot overstate how excellent it is that this league is back, as this ball sent out into the outfield by Jenkins, his second hit of the day. That'll move Beloso over to second, and some more 2-out offense being generated here by the Mariners. Had a couple of chances yesterday with 2 outs, and Pat Winkle going to look to knock one in here.
Yeah, they had almost this exact situation back in the first inning. Brock Wilkin got picked off on second base, but runners on first and second, Winkle at the dish. So far, nobody has even gotten to third, so that would be helpful as well. But again, Winkle going to have to find his way on as well with 2 outs here in the inning.
First pitch dealt into Winkle, hit right at the second baseman Hoffman. Throw to first is in time, and that is the inning. Mariners strand 2. So through 3 innings, it is a 0-0 score between YD and Harwich. You are listening to the Harwich Mariners on the Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the top of the 4th inning. Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs, NCAA Division III athletics, and continuing education and graduate studies, including 5th-year master's programs at www.curry.edu. And now for the play-by-play for the next 3 innings, my partner here, Tyler Henry.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it as we look as Start things off here in the top of the fourth. It'll be the 5, 6, and 7 hole hitters due up for the Red Sox. Peyton Graham, Cade Hunter, and Tyler Williams. As Graham will start off standing in from the right side. Another inning of work coming up here for Evan Shaver, who has been cruising so far. 7 strikeouts through the first 3 innings of this one, and he gets a swing and a ball sent high in the air out to right field. That'll chase Press Kavanaugh back to the fence, and it is gone. No, correction. It's caught by the center fielder. Looked down for just a moment and didn't see Lucky bring that into the glove. Great start here to the play-by-play segment. So Peyton Graham retired. Saw Kavanaugh turn his head for a moment, and that's why you don't take your eye off the ball, kids. So Cade Hunter will be due up next, the third strikeout victim back in the first inning. Hunter stands in from the left side. First pitch as Shaver works out of the windup, down and in. And the count starts at 1-0.
It was a good read at bat by Hunter. Of course, not following the approach Graham just had, being aggressive.
This ball swung on and taken to short. It'll be picked up by Hood. Turns, steps, and fires to first in time. Good speed there by Cade Hunter, but not enough. And that is 2 quick outs delivered here by Shaver, who I made the joke earlier that maybe the defensive players would want to grab the lawn chairs. Looks like they're going to have to leave him in the dugout for the time being.
Yeah, using the defense a little bit more this time around, but doing it efficiently. As YD, they're trying to be a little more aggressive, it seems, in this new inning, but hitting him right at the Mariners' defense.
So that'll bring up Tyler Williams. Stands in, fouls the first pitch he sees back to the hill. Williams 0 for 1 with a strikeout as well. You can say that about a lot of guys. 5 different guys in this lineup, 0 for 1 with a strikeout coming into the second time through the order. So far, the only guy to be retired via the K twice was Pascal Ferreras. This pitch misses low and inside, and the count goes to 1-1. Right now, both teams looking to get their pitchers some run support. It's definitely been a pitcher's duel here through the early parts of this one. Kick and fire. This one will miss away for Evan Shaver. And again, his command has just been absolutely insane this game. He's pretty much gotten whatever he's wanted out there.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't really been any pitches that look like they've gotten away from him all that much.
Here comes the 2-1 on the way. That'll be swung on and missed. Down low. And that'll make the count even again at 2-2. Mariners fans, if you're tuning in here in the stadium, programs will be coming out soon. Plenty of good action. If you're not, be sure to get here at some point this season. Of course, if you feel comfortable with it. It is a beautiful summer for baseball as this pitch is in there. Called strike 3, and that will retire the side. Another 3-up, 3-down inning. Shaver gets Tyler Williams on the off-speed, and that'll take us to the home half of inning number 4. It's Mariners 0, Red Sox 0. You're watching the Harwich Mariners here on the Mariners YouTube network. Back at the ballpark here at White House Field, Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for the home half of inning number 4. And for the Mariners, it will be hitters number 6, 7, and 8 due up. Tatum Levens stands in right now. He'll take the first pitch in there for a called strike on the outside part of the plate. After that, it'll be Josh Hood and Hal Hughes. Levens batting from the left side, digs in. And the 0-1 pitch is on its way. That'll miss outside, trying to get him to chase, nothing doing there. Levin's a strikeout victim his first time up, just 0 for 1 on the day. As again, all of these guys still trying to find their footing in the early part of the CCBL season. Big swing and a miss as Levins tries to put that one over the new scoreboard here, Tim, and comes up empty.
Yeah, big cut. And, yeah, does not get a whole lot on it. That's what's been the story for Thorpe so far.
Lots of swings and misses. Brings the off-speed home. That'll miss down and out. Count goes here to 1-2.
And, of course, we're looking at Shaver. He's got 8 strikeouts. Thorpe not nearly as many with 2, but he's not giving anything that Harwich can really get a good piece of. I mean, only singles so far from the Mariners.
As this ball chopped foul down the third base line. Yeah, not really allowing anybody to square anything up. And to the point, I mean, yes, he's allowed a lot of base runners, but no one's touched third base yet in this game, whether to come around to try and score or otherwise. So he has been in control, for lack of any better term. And his 2-2 pitch is on the way, swung on and driven into the gap in right center. That'll get down for yet another single as it's picked up by Knight out in right field. And Harwich is in business, the Mariners, with a runner on first and nobody out. And Tim, this is the second time in this game Harwich has had the leadoff man aboard. They got Pat Winkle on in the second, but a fielder's choice prevented him from moving any further. Got to convert on these types of opportunities. Runner on, nobody out.
Definitely. I mean, Harwich, you've already left 5 guys on base through the first 3 innings of play, excuse me. And so it's about driving them around at this point.
And how about this? Is a swing and a ball tipped foul half-heartedly by Josh Hood off the plate. Harwich has already surpassed their hit total from yesterday, and we're only in the 4th inning. So that's what you wanted to see coming into this game. They've picked it up with the bats.
Yeah, shaking it out a little bit. Jenkins yesterday did not get a single hit, 2 for 2 so far.
Little check there for a moment. Josh Hood does not offer, and he may have wanted to, as that's in there for strike 2. Once again, Drew Thorpe doing a good job staying ahead of the hitter. And he has got Josh Hood eating out of the palm of his hand with an 0-2 count. Thorpe sets, kicks, and fires. This ball is going to be taken right at the third baseman. It'll be picked up. They go the short way for 1, back across in time. And just like that, the threat eliminated. A 5-4-3 double play. And that'll put 2 away here for Hal Hughes.
Now batting for your Harwich Mariners, the second baseman, number 19, Hal.
Just some tough luck for Hood. I mean, a well-hit ball got some good speed on it, but just hit square at Ferreira standing over at third. Easy conversion there, thrown onto second.
Yep, so we'll see here. Again, Hughes due up. Kavanaugh, if they can get to him, but Hal's going to have to find his way on base. He swings at the first pitch he sees, drives it into foul territory, and right there to pick it up is Luttrell. So it ends up being a minimum inning faced here for Drew Thorpe. Technically speaking, 3 up, 3 down, and we are still tied at 0. We go to the 5th. Mariners 0, Red Sox 0. You're watching Harwich Mariners baseball here on the Mariners YouTube Network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we get set for the 5th inning of play. Want to remind you, Mariners fans, for sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape Islands Caterpillar dealer, is a proud sponsor of today's game. So, Tim, as we get set here for the 5th inning of action, it's been kind of a slow-going outing, at least if you're a fan of offense, but both of these pitchers have had it rolling. What have you really seen so far out of Evan Shaver, who, again, has just been crushing hitter after hitter in this game?
I mean, he's just had great pitchability. He's just changing it up. Nobody's really looked comfortable at the plate. 8 of the possible 12 outs so far in this game are credited to that man on the mound right now. He's looked really excellent so far.
See if he can keep that up as this first pitch will miss down and away. He'll face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, Briley Knight, Wyatt Hoffman, and Chase Luttrell due up here for the Whitey Red Sox. And oh yeah, by the way, coming into this inning, he had thrown 63 pitches, 40 of them for strikes. So he is not messing around with the zone as he gets a terrible bunt attempt, but this might actually work. Instead, it's gloved by Shaver. The basket catch over the shoulder puts one away on what could have been a disaster. Briley Knight tries to bunt that ball, but didn't get it down.
No, got underneath it, and hey, who says pitchers can't field? That's a tough catch to make. He's running back, got it right over his shoulder. That's a nice job there by Shaver on the mound to help himself out.
Some pitchers roll their eyes a little bit when they have to do those individual pitcher defensive practices, but I'll tell you what, it looks like Shaver's been putting in the work, and he is continuing to cruise. He'll face the 9-hole hitter Wyatt Hoffman. First pitch to Hoffman misses down and away. Hoffman retired via a strikeout back in the second inning of action. Now, there has been one guy who's reached third base for YD here. But aside from that, similar to what Harwich has seen, nobody has made it past second, so nobody really threatening to score in this game on either side. From the windup, Shaver kicks and deals. This ball is going to be chopped weakly right back to him, and those defensive practices pay off again as Shaver delivers a strike to the first base bag. It's 2 up, 2 down. And also worth noting, that is now 8 in a row. 8 guys up, 8 guys down, dating back to the strikeout of Wyatt Hoffman, who started that off. Since then, nobody has reached base, much less gotten on via a hit here. So really seeing Evan Shaver, he got the strikeouts early, but now he is settling into a groove. He knows right where he wants to put these pitches.
Oh, exactly. And now you have Luttrell, who for the third time around is going to try to get a hit here or not strike out.
As he will sky this one into foul territory. Giving chase right now is Wilkin as he runs into a herd of his own teammates over there. An entire ship's worth of Mariners in the bullpen. And they will give him a nice chuckle and a pat on the back here as he heads back out to his spot in the field. Of course, Chase Luttrell trying to avoid the dreaded hat trick. Already has 2 out of the 3 Ks. And he's varied it up a little bit here. One looking, one swinging. A drop third strike, and he'll have all 3 options available to him. He falls behind here 0-1. All of those theatrics for a measly strike. So Shaver continuing to work out of the windup here. The lefty kicks and fires. This one's going to be swung on and chopped foul. And Shaver out ahead 0-2. This is where he does some of his best work, Tim.
Yeah, once he's ahead like this, he tends to put guys away one way or another. Gives them something that they really can't get a piece of, or he just blows it by him and ends the at-bat.
Certainly. And again, we do have the luxury of the radar gun here. Shaver's been reaching back for a little something extra on these, you can tell, but he's been deadly with the location as well. The 0-2. That will not be the one. Tries to get him to chase one in the dirt. But you see there, Chase Luttrell elects to leave the 9-iron in the golf bag and picks up the bat with a 1-2 count. And from the windup, Shaver facing off against the Red Sox leadoff man. Pitch on the way. That one will just miss up and out, and the count even at 2-2.
Good patience from Luttrell. He has every reason to expect something to blow by him in the strike zone, but holding off some pitches, just missing low and then outside.
See if he gets antsy here on a 2-2 count. Pitch on the way, and he does. It gets away from Winkle, but Winkle has plenty of time, picks it up, and fires. And as I said, the hat trick. All 3 variations as well. Gives some style points to Chase Luttrell, who goes down on strikes for the 3rd time today. Strikeout number 8 for Evan Shaver, and now the 10th man in a row he has faced that he has set down. 9 up, 9 down. For Evan Shaver. We go to the home half of the 5th. Mariners and Red Sox still tied up 0 apiece. You're watching right here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back at the ballpark here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley bringing you this one live as we get set for the home half of inning number 5. And so far, so good. Want to correct a correction that I made earlier. Evan Schauber has, in fact, set down the last 10 hitters that he has faced, but he does have 9 strikeouts on the day. Again, he has just been virtually unhittable. And Tim, you know, I mentioned coming into this, you know, you're going to try to get a bunch of different guys some looks here, see what you've got. But I'll tell you what these coaches like even more than finding out what they have earlier in the season, and that's winning. And so far, both starting pitchers giving their teams an excellent opportunity to do that.
And I'm telling you, I'm sure the scouts are loving this right now, seeing as much of these guys as possible, seeing what they're made of, how deep can they go in a game against some good hitting talent. So this is really a good moment for those pitchers, and I have to imagine why that's why they're being left in.
Absolutely. At the dish right now, Press Kavanaugh, who takes ball 1. That'll even the count at 1-1 here. Kavanaugh batting from the left just as I mentioned, I think Thorpe may have heard me as he gets a strikeout of Press Kavanaugh. That is K number 3 on the day for the left-handed hurler here for YD.
Yeah, it gets him to look after it going up high. That's a tough one to lay off of if you're a batter. But Kavanaugh cannot find any of it. A really nice pitch from Thorpe.
Thorpe again back to work here from the windup, kicks and deals as he will face the leadoff hitter Nick Lucky for a 3rd time. He's been taking care of Lucky so far, who is 0 for 2. A couple of groundouts, 1 to short, 1 to third.
He's putting the barrel on it, though.
Yep, absolutely, and that's all you can ask for. Again, the strikeout numbers, we said they needed to be lower. So far, they have been lowers. Lucky will watch this down and out, and the count goes to 1-1. Tell you another guy that did not have any fortune yesterday, and that was Hal Hughes. He had a couple of hard hit balls out to right field, but a couple of web gem plays kept him from reaching base. As a swing and a miss here by Lucky will put him in a 1-2 hole.
Yeah, Chase DeLauder for Orleans yesterday really put on a clinic, particularly for Hughes. I mean, I think that was the only action he got out in right was when Hal Hughes sent it his way.
Well, I'll tell you what, the other guy who did a great job in right field, standing at the plate right now, it's Nick Lucky, who had a couple of Sports Center-worthy plays. Something about that right field spot at Eldridge yesterday, it just led to a couple of great highlights, and certainly a show for all of us. Lucky now trying to get the job done with the bat in his hand with a 2-2 count. Here comes the pitch. And that is swung on and missed. Again, another off-speed pitch. And Lucky becomes the 2nd straight strikeout. K number 4 on the day for Drew Thorpe. He is cruising. And I'll tell you what, too, neither one of these guys really jacking up the pitch count. Both of these guys have been able to do this very efficiently. So you wonder how long they'll be able to maintain that.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this inning, Thorpe had 75 pitches, 42 of them for strikes.
Yeah, both guys putting on an absolute clinic. Brock Wilken at the plate now, stands in. First pitch he sees is an off-speed, drops in there for strike 1. Wilken, the guy that you highlighted yesterday as the player to watch, the 6'4" freshman from Wake Forest. And he has certainly gotten off to a great start to his collegiate career as this pitch misses in the dirt to even the count at 1-1. Wilken breaking that freshman home run record with 17 bombs in the 2021 season, trying to carry that momentum over here. 1-1 on the way. He will get under this, sends it a mile high. Tracking it back is catcher Hunter, and he'll glove it for out number 3. So another quick 3-up, 3-down inning. That's 5 in a row retired here for Drew Thorpe. To the 6th we go. Still scoreless from White House here in Harwich, Massachusetts. You're watching on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back to the ballpark here at White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley, and a defensive substitution to get you up on as a new catcher coming into the game for the Harwich Mariners. It's Aaron McKeithen who will be getting his first look here. McKeithen was in the lineup as the DH yesterday. I believe, though, this is the first look he'll get behind the plate, and as you pointed out, rocking the green Charlotte gear. Pretty easy to spot out there on the field for Aaron McKeithen.
Yeah, pretty familiar spot for him. I mean, played in all 61 games for UNC Charlotte this past season. Started 59 of them behind the plate. That's always a lot as a catcher to be asked to really catch a majority of your team's innings, and he did just that this past season for the 49ers.
Yeah, allegedly, Aaron McKeithen is only 6'1", but I stood pretty close to him yesterday. I don't know if I believe that. He looks taller than 6'1", but either way, we'll see what kind of production he can get. I'm assuming he'll probably be taking over for Pat Winkle in the lineup. That is for Pat Winkle on a 1-for-2 day. But again, trying to see what they've got at this point in the season. And another inning of work coming up. No surprise here for Evan Shaver, who was just continuing to put on a clinic. We'll see if that can continue, as he will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Brooks Lee, Pascanel Ferreras, and Nathan Baez. Swing and a miss. He picks up right where he left off and gets a big whiff from Brooks Lee. Next pitch on the way. Another swing and a miss. Back-to-back pitches. Pretty much the same spot, same result, as Lee falls behind 0-2. Brooks Lee is one of just 3 guys in this lineup who has not been retired via the strikeout yet, the 0-2. That in the dirt. Lee leaves it down, and the count goes to 1-2. Other games going on around the Cape Cod Baseball League this evening. We're actually catching up to a few of these, despite starting a little bit later, as the 1-2 is on the way, and that will miss down and out. Actually, correction, late strikeout call. They punch him out. Brooks Lee down on strikes for the first time today, and that is strikeout number 10 for Evan Shaver. We'll come to that, back to that here in just a moment. Pascanel Ferreras up to bat. But let's go ahead and get you a look around the Cape Cod Baseball League. The Bourne Braves up 9-1 on the Brewster Whitecaps. Katuitt currently down 3-5 to the Harbor Hawks of Hyannis, as the first pitch is just down and out here to Pascanel Ferreras. And a couple of games with no score. Of course, this one, no score between Falmouth and Wareham, and the Orleans Firebirds up 1-0 on the Chatham Anglers. That game in the 4th inning as this pitch gets by him. So the Cape League starting to take shape here, Tim, as we kind of take a look at what other teams are doing around the league.
Yeah, I mean, Orleans, they're back in the lead, having some success early in their game. And Bourne really opened up against the Whitecaps. So, of course, as we mentioned a bit earlier in the game, these first few games, it's really like it's the same 10 franchises, but it's different teams every night because you have so many different interchangeable parts on each of those teams, and they're all going to see relatively even playing time, or at least, depending on when temps are brought in or brought out throughout the season.
Big swing and a miss here on back-to-back pitches. Pascanel Ferreras looking helpless. Another guy who could be a victim of the hat trick. 2 strikeouts for him already. And yeah, it's tough because you don't really get to take any momentum out of the season before. So yes, the Mariners were in the championship in 2019 as the 2-2 is chopped near the shortstop. It'll be picked up by Hood. Steps, fires in time for out number 2.
Nice throw by Hood. That was a laser over there from short.
Absolutely. Again, defense, something you're always going to get out of this Harwich Mariners team. It seems like that is something they prioritize when they're scouting. But again, I mean, the Mariners were in the championship series back in 2019, but that really doesn't mean that much going into this year. Obviously, it's great for the franchise, but as you mentioned, they're one of the few teams that brings 5 guys back. Typically, that's not something that you bring anybody back. So Harwich definitely leaning into some of these veteran guys. As taking strike 1 is Nathan Baez. And man, I'll tell you what, Evan Shaver not wasting any time here.
No, I mean, I don't remember a first pitch ball in this game. It's been a lot of 0-1, 0-2 to start each at-bat so far.
Absolutely. Here comes that 0-1 pitch. That'll miss up and out. Not a bad idea, trying to get Baez to chase. And you really do start to second-guess yourself as a hitter in spots like this because, again, you've seen all of your teammates stand up, get out, come back to the dugout, and you know you have to be the guy to try to break that cycle. This ball might have a chance. Rolling to second. It'll be picked up by Hal Hughes, who throws to first in time. And, man, this incredible streak continues for Evan Shaver. He has now set down the last 13 batters. We will get you a quick break here. The Harwich Mariners due up in the home half of the 6th. Still a scoreless ball game from White House Field. You're watching it right here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field, a very fast-moving ball game here for the Harwich Mariners, still knotted up 0-0, and the YD Red Sox make the move to the bullpen first. They will bring in Zach Franklin. This will be the first pitching change of the game. What can we expect out of Franklin here in this one, Mr. Foley?
Well, Franklin, he's a right-hander, standing about 6'2", so pretty good frame out of Western Carolina this past season for Western Carolina. 18 appearances, 3 starts, ERA just below 5 at 4.96. 45 and a third innings pitched, 7-4 record, and 3 saves. So he knows what it's like to come in these relief situations, and he's gotten himself into quite the battle here, jumping into the fray, having to match up against this Mariners lineup and try and compete with Shawver on the mound for the Mariners.
Well, and more to the point, he'll be jumping in to face the heart of the order. It'll be Beloso, Andrew Jenkins, and we assume probably Aaron McKeithen, who came in as a defensive sub for Pat Winkle. We'll see if he comes up in that spot in the lineup or if they elect to do something funky. Franklin, who delivered, ends his outing with strike first in this one.
Yeah, already 2 for 2. I mean, a great outing so far from Jenkins, one of the few hitters who's had success on either side.
Not much more you can ask out of him as he takes a big rip at this, comes up empty, and he falls behind here 1-2.
Yeah, it was a really nice pitch there from the pitcher Franklin, 90, blowing it right by him.
So McKeithen on deck, nobody out, runner on first here in the home half of inning number 6. Andrew Jenkins at the dish, pitch on the way, swing and a miss. And that is strike 3 as Andrew Jenkins becomes the first strikeout victim of the day for Zach Franklin. And after the 5-pitch walk, I'll tell you what, that's a little confidence booster for Franklin, who's got to be feeling a little bit better here as he will face Aaron McKeithen for the first time.
Yeah, really nice pitch to end that at-bat. Got him with the fastball to get him to swing, and then again to end the at-bat, just blowing it right by him. He might have been expecting it, but doesn't mean he can catch up to it.
McKeithen was in the lineup yesterday as the designated hitter, and he was able to reach on 2 walks. Still looking for his first hit of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. First pitch to him is down and away. And I think also there were a couple of guys that I noticed. McKeithen, another one of those. I think actually I mentioned it earlier. McKeithen standing in at 6'1" from the right side. A 1-0 count as he will face off against Zach Franklin. Pitch here missing outside, and once again he gets behind 2-0. And it's a much different mentality for a pitcher. When you fall behind a guy 2-0 as opposed to when you're up 0-2, you really do, it just feels different mentally.
I mean, it gives the hitter so much power because they can choose to lay off something if they don't like it, and you know, it forces the pitcher to have to go after a guy.
Big swing and a ball tipped foul back behind the backstop here. Good crowd on hand at White House Field. Absolutely no surprise there, though, as again, this is a Cape Cod Baseball League that set a new record for attendance. 10,808 fans at opening day. It's going to be a good summer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the Cape in about mid-season form in regards to attendance yesterday.
This ball swung on and flared out to right field. Chasing it in right now is Knight. That's going to drop in fair territory, and he misplays it, but turning for the moment and holding up at second base is Cade Beloso. Beloso, he turned the corner, and he did not have time to look back and see that Knight misplayed the ball out in right field. So just one away in the inning. Aaron McKeithen does his job. He reaches here on a single, and it's runners on first and second, only one away for Tatum Levens, who singled his last time up.
And that's the second time today we've seen a ball just kind of drop in no man's land out towards that first base side. And, of course, as you mentioned, the misplay on the ball could have been a real nice chance for the Mariners with only one out to get runners on the corners.
So we'll see here whether the Harwich Mariners can find a way to strike first. Obviously, only one game into the season, but they have not held a lead yet, and it would feel good to get ahead here, especially the way Evan Shaver's pitching. Keep in mind, he has 10 strikeouts so far. He hasn't given up a run, but he's also gotten no run support, not in line for the win or the loss. First pitch in there for a called strike to Tatum Levens, who's DHing today. He struck out back in the second inning, shook that off, and came back and got a single to lead off the fourth. Go ahead, run in scoring position. Sixth inning of action here at White House Field. Lights are on. Cloud cover well overhead. Zach Franklin looks the runner back to second, brings home the pitch. This is swung on and fouled away. That is one upside to this field. You have this problem at YD with the parking situation, of course, where you don't want to park in the wrong spot or you've got a foul ball coming for your windshield. Here at White House, really nothing to worry about. Not a bad seat in the house, not a bad spot in the parking lot either.
Yeah, it's a bit of a walk to the field. You know, you got to traverse the whole walkway down, but it really is, as you said, safe parking, and it's just nice. You kind of come out into the woods, and it just opens up.
0-2 to Levens, fouled away as he fights to stay alive. Tatum Levens, again, trying right now to keep this inning going for the Harwich Mariners. Levens, the junior from LaSalle. And he will shorten up again with an 0-2 count. Franklin looking for another strikeout. Of course, Levens will be transferring to Pitt as this pitch misses up, and that's the kind of patient at bat you need as he doesn't chase the pitch up. Very cautious there. He'll go ahead and hold off. In 2021, this is what you love to see. 27 strikeouts, but he evens it out with 27 walks. And he is a speedster. 36 stolen bases. I think you mentioned that earlier, Tim. He has got blazing speed. So watch out on a ground ball if he does get one. Looking to beat it out at first. He will swing and put a charge into this. High in the air, out to right field. Very easily played by Knight, who comes in and makes the catch. They will send the runner. He tags. Great throw, and they absolutely hose Cade Beloso at third base.
I mean, Knight showed it off a little bit when he misplayed it. The way he threw it back into third, I thought he had some juice on it then. And wow, he finally does get Beloso as he tries to make it down to third. Tough break for the Mariners. All you got to do is tip your cap to Knight out and right.
The old F9-5 double play to end the inning, and we are still scoreless through 6. We will step away when we come back. More Cape Cod baseball. You're watching the Harwich Mariners here on the Mariners YouTube Network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry and Tim Foley as we get set for the 7th inning. And with that, we'll turn it back over to Tim Foley for the play-by-play.
Yes, thank you, Tyler. That is the day for the pitcher, Evan Shawver, as we have a new pitcher on the mound here for the Mariners, Bo Keithley, the junior out of Cincinnati. Transferred, of course, to Cincinnati from Oakland University. But to recap today real quick for Shawver, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Really a lights-out performance from Shawver this evening.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a chance to catch up with Evan Shawver after this game.
Ball fouled off off the batter. Now up for YD, Peyton Graham, the left fielder, hit by a pitch all the way back in the 1st inning, and that's really the one blemish you could say that Shawver had on the afternoon, but even then, happens.
Well, and more importantly, the guy never made it past second base, so
Of course.
no harm, no foul there for Evan Shawver.
0-1 pitch, and now 1-1 the count.
And Bo Keithley, one of those guys that the Mariners could potentially be at risk of losing. He is a big draft prospect and a guy that is getting a lot of buzz right now in scouting circles. The 6'1 junior, as you mentioned, from Cincinnati, pitches out of that sidearm submarine slot. Fastball that'll come in between 88 to 92 and a wipeout slider. That's your 2-pitch mix for Bo Keithley.
And I think that delivery is really what helps to give him some success as the count runs to 3-1 now, because as a batter, because you have here Peyton Graham in the righty batter box, that looks like it's coming in from behind you where it's being released, and then it's coming across your body towards the other side of the plate. That's a tough pitch to get a read on at times, although got a pretty good read on that one. Sends it out over the shortstop into shallow left center, and the leadoff man is on here for YD.
Well, and what do we see? The exact same thing. I mean, you have Evan Shawver retire 14 in a row. They go to the bullpen, and the first guy that he faces is on base. So again, no harm, no foul yet, but you got to think, if you're Evan Shawver, without that run support, you got to be a little nervous right now in that Mariners dugout.
This brings up the catcher, Cade Hunter. Hunter 0 for 2 on the day, struck out back in the 1st inning, grounded out to short in the 4th. He'll have a chance here to try to drive a base runner around. Both teams still looking for the first run of the game. First pitch delivered into Hunter is a ball, 1-0.
And you also notice, again, when we talk about Bo Keithley, we say sidearm or submarine. He will change his arm slot a little bit, and that is another thing that makes him a bit more unpredictable for some of these hitters.
This ball hits squarely to the second baseman, Hughes, but it eats him up, and everybody's safe. Hughes could not hold on to it, and so Graham will advance to second base, and standing safe on first is Cade Hunter.
And that is a rare, rare defensive miscue for Hal Hughes. Keep in mind, though, Hal Hughes spent, again, most of his time in 2019 playing shortstop, but he is, a prominent middle infielder, and you don't see that happen very often. Hopefully for the Mariners, it does not result in a run, but we'll have to wait and see with Tyler Williams' spot in the lineup due up here.
Looks like it's going to be a pinch hitter here for YD. They're in a pretty good spot with 2 on, no outs, looking for the first run of the game. Number 29 is going to be up for YD. It's looking like that's going to be Tanner Smith, outfielder from Oregon. So for Williams on the day, he struck out twice, and that was about it. Smith brought in to lay down the bunt.
Yeah, that very well may be why they brought him in again. Sometimes you just try to move the runner over. You wonder if we might see a couple other guys get pulled that had similar days with a couple of strikeouts this afternoon.
Although who wasn't having a similar day
True.
with the way Shawver was performing. 0-1 count. Bunt laid down again, dropped right at home plate, called foul. And so 2 failed bunt attempts puts Smith in an 0-2 hole.
Yeah, and now realistically, again, probably not going to see Smith try to bunt with a 2-strike count. So we'll see what he can do with the bat off the shoulder here. His first real opportunity to do something for YD.
Keithley looking to shut this down as YD with some momentum early in this inning delivers one well outside. Count now 1-2.
Yeah, right now, Keithley, he's doing a good job settling in right now. Again, he gets ahead of another hitter. Just trying to put him away. And you wonder if it'll be the fastball or the slider that he goes to for the strikeout pitch here.
And I mean, Smith, a guy who can swing the bat, batted .324 this season for Oregon. Certainly trying to take advantage of what he can do, perhaps with a bunt early in the at-bat, but he can swing it.
Mm-hmm. He certainly can, and we'll see again. I mean, trying to have a dangerous at-bat here, as they've taken advantage with the air. They've got a runner in scoring position, and, you know, again, runs coming at a premium this evening. Every one counts if you can get them across.
Definitely a lot more small ball as we get later in the game with this tight pitching. 1-2 count. Keithley staring in, delivers. Ball hit on the ground. Keithley will handle it. Takes a look at third. Instead, throws all the way to first to record the out. Take the easy out there, but the runners do advance, so Graham now stands on third. Cade Hunter, he's going to move to second base, and now with one out, the Red Sox looking pretty good. Two in scoring position, and it's going to be Briley Knight, the right fielder. He has a hit so far in this one, and last time he was up, he tried to lay down the bunt, ended up popping up to the... Actually, as a matter of fact, it is Briley Knight. It is Briley Knight. He popped out to the pitcher on a bunt attempt his last time up, so we'll see what he tries to do with only one out. Holds off on the first one, just misses the outside part of the plate. New count says 1-0.
I'll tell you what, they got exactly what they wanted out of Tanner Smith. That ball back to the pitcher, just as good as a bunt. It does exactly what they want. It gets the runners over, and now it's up to the 8 and 9 hole hitters to try to drive somebody in.
Runner goes for home, bunt laid down. Tried the good old steal home from Peyton Graham as he tried to make his way in. The bunt just getting underneath the bat of Briley Knight, sneaking through McKeithen as well. But, of course, as soon as that ball ruled foul, Graham had to go back to third. And I think the element of surprise there for YD on the suicide squeeze is gone at this point.
Yeah, you don't see the suicide squeeze very often these days, but man, they really went for it there.
Pitch inside, misses, 2-1.
It's one of those things you don't typically see them go back to that well twice. Now, I will say, from my time back in 2019, Scott Pickler does like to play small ball. Him and Steve Engler, two of the guys in the league that do this more often than, say, some of the other managers across the league. So, not a huge surprise here, as Scott Pickler trying to get that all-inclusive first run.
Ball fouled back. Count now goes to 2-2. And, of course, some mind games between some classic East Division rivals. See each other so often, year in and year out. You kind of get familiar with what the other coach likes to offer, and so trying to outmaneuver, outmanage the other team. 2-2 count here. Standing on second is Cade Hunter. Standing on third, Peyton Graham. Only one out. Nice chance for YD to try and drive a run across. Pitch gets down in between the legs of McKeithen. Perhaps went off the foot of the umpire, perhaps off the foot of McKeithen. Stays just at home plate. Count now full at 3-2.
Well, I can remove the perhaps. That definitely went off the foot of the home plate umpire. And I'm not saying it would have rolled all the way. I don't know how far it would have feasibly rolled back, but with how aggressive Whitey is being down there at third base, it may have helped Harwich keep a run off the board.
The 3-2 pitch. Ball hit straight through the gap on the left side. Coming home to score is going to be Graham. Standing on third is Hunter. And on first with an RBI single is Briley Knight. First run of the game coming from Knight in the 8th spot here in the top of the 7th inning. Runners now on the corners for the Red Sox, still only one out.
Well, you knew somebody was going to have to break the draw, and again, that was the first time since YD back in the first inning had a runner on third base. The first time either team had a runner 90 feet away, and it's YD cashing in and getting on the board first.
That was a well-hit ball from Knight, too. As this one's popped up, going back to get it is Kavanaugh. He was playing pretty shallow to stop YD from being able to tag up, but Cade Hunter does tag up, comes home, and it's 2 runs now in the inning for YD.
Yep, and that's all it is. You just have to find a way to drive a ball deep to the outfield. You saw they kind of had him playing in case they had a shot at a ball he could scoop up and fire home, but that ball took him out, and with your momentum going back that way, no chance you're getting him at home. An easy sacrifice fly here for Wyatt Hoffman.
So now 2 outs, runner standing on first in Briley Knight. This brings up the top of the order once more. Runner going for second. Ball hit out towards left. Underneath it to make the catch, Cade Beloso, and the inning will end. Damage done by YD. However, the first 2 runners to get on, Peyton Graham and Cade Hunter, they both come home. It's a 2-0 game now. YD leading the Mariners here at White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts. You are listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Don't go anywhere.
Now batting for the Harwich Mariners, the shortstop from NC State, number 3, Josh Hood.
The 7, 8, 9 batters due up here for the Mariners. Josh Hood, Hal Hughes, Press Kavanaugh. They'll be up against a new pitcher in Reed McLaughlin out of Brigham Young. The day is done for Zach Franklin. 1 inning of work coming in the 6th inning. Gave up 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 1, and did his job. Kept Harwich off the scoreboard, helping to enable YD to take this 2-0 lead they now find themselves in. And they'll look to McLaughlin to try and assert some dominance here, a shutdown inning to make sure these Mariners don't come back and try and score any runs. As the 0-2 pitch delivered into Hood misses the zone, now sits at 1-2.
Yeah, a bit of a shaky inning there for Zach Franklin. Not a bad idea to bring him out, especially now that you're in a position just trying to come up and get 9 more outs for the Mariners. So YD trying to start to put this one away, and that is a dirty pitch.
As the pitch dropped, and Hood's going to be safe on first. The strike 3 was dropped, and the throw from the catcher, Cade Hunter, behind the plate over to the first baseman, Luttrell, went over his head. Luttrell jumping up in the air, not able to bring it down. And so Hood safe on first. A tough way to start the inning if you're YD, but for Harwich, that's the second time that Hood's gotten on today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also the 4th time you've had the leadoff man aboard in an inning for Harwich. So an opportunity now trying to move that around. And
as the first pitch misses, 1-0.
it's kind of amazing. This game started 30 minutes after a contest between Katuitt and Hyannis, and we've actually caught that game. Again, with a low-scoring pitchers duel, this game has been moving pretty good. The pacing, anyway.
That being said, after the 1-0 count moves to 2-0. Let's give you an out-of-town update. We do have one final score. Bourne beating the Brewster Whitecaps 9-1. Katuitt, of course, trailing the Hyannis 5-3. Falmouth and Wareham, Falmouth is leading that game 3-2, and then Orleans and Chatham, they're knotted up at 1 at the bottom of the 5th. And here we are in the bottom of the 7th. YD having just scored the first 2 runs of the game. We had a pretty clean slate through 6. And it was the YD Bats stepping up first. Of course, now Harwich into this YD bullpen, hoping they can replicate some of that success. With a man on, ball hit towards the shortstop, shovel to second, throw on to first. In time, 6-4-3, the double play. There was one on base a moment ago with no outs, and there's now nobody on with 2 outs here for Press Kavanaugh.
Second time that Harwich has gotten the leadoff man aboard this game, but immediately grounds into a double play, and now the base is empty for Press Kavanaugh. Not the time to panic yet, obviously, for Harwich, but at the same time, that sense of urgency has to be growing, knowing that you're now down to your final 7 outs.
Kavanaugh 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Struck out swinging in his last at-bat. He was one of the 4 strikeout victims of Thorpe. Thorpe had an excellent outing today, too. I know we've talked a lot about both of these pitchers, but just from Thorpe's perspective, not as many strikeouts, of course, but really just not giving these Harwich batters anything good that they could see at the plate. This pitch high from McLaughlin. 2-0.
Of course, for all that work, neither pitcher going to be tapped with a win in this game, ironically enough. But at the end of the day, it's all about the team result. And we all know, I think, pitcher wins has to be probably the most overrated stat in all of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and having to rely so much on your offense, it really does not say as much about you as a pitcher as perhaps one might think.
Yep. Try, of course, to avoid making comparisons to the major league at any point as we're watching some of these top prospects, but one guy will throw the name out just to kind of go to that point of pitcher stats, or pitcher wins not being a huge stat. Jacob deGrom, you look at some of the run support or lack thereof that he's gotten these previous seasons with the New York Mets, and it just goes to show your individual numbers, especially you're talking about scouting and what these guys are going to see. Win or loss is not going to change what the guys are reporting back to their representative programs coming out of a game like this.
Exactly, and I think that it really served Shawver well to stay in the game as long as he did and really prove himself. It doesn't matter with the wins or losses, perhaps, even if Coach or any manager in that position might have thought to bring a guy out. Somebody's out there, he's thrown it well, let him stay out, see what happens, let the scouts get a good look at him. And that's what both of these starters got some good exposure here today.
And more to the point, I mean, we don't want to make projections. We're sitting up here in the peanut gallery. We don't know what goes on in those coaches' meetings. Yep. But I will say, if you're Evan Shawver, it's going to be tough to make the case that he doesn't belong here on this team after this outing, regardless of what happens in this next game. I know he's on a temporary contract, but again, stating his case for a longer outing with the M's.
And the full count pitch misses high, so Press Kavanaugh will get on base with 2 outs. This brings up the top of the order for the 4th time around.
Yep, absolutely. And again, you just wonder, anything other than a double play, you're talking about a better situation here for the M's. But Nick Lucky due up right now, looking to make something happen here for Harwich. 2 away. They need a little 2-out rally here in the 7th.
Lucky 0 for 3 as the pickoff over to first, making sure Kavanaugh stays put. And of course it was Hood who got on first as the first pitch dealt to Kavanaugh, misses 1-0. I mean, Hood, a guy you could argue should not have gotten on first to begin with. He did end up getting on first, and it was a good look to start the inning for the Mariners, get a guy on with no outs, especially after having just gone down. But then the double play, knocking them down to this kind of backs against the wall position here in the bottom of the 7th, as now Lucky finding himself down to the count 0-2.
Yeah, going to have to shorten up a little bit here, get protective. I mean, every cliche in the book, but you have to, down 0-2 in a situation like this.
Runner goes. Kavanaugh, the throw down to second, misses. Kavanaugh thinks about going for third, but another throw from Hunter misses the mark this inning. and Kavanaugh standing safe on second.
Yeah, fortunate there too, because I thought where that pitch was located and with the kind of pop that you got from Hunter behind the dish, a good throw probably would have gotten Press Kavanaugh at second, but instead the Mariners with a runner in scoring position down by 2.
McLaughlin staring in, taking the signals from his catcher, Hunter. The pitch misses high and away. 2-2 the count.
And this is what you want if you're the Mariners. You've got the top of the order due up right now. You don't have to worry about any of the bottom guys in the lineup maybe having less productive at bats. I mean, this is a good spot to be in, but again, with 2 outs, you can always end the inning. And that's what they're trying to avoid right now.
Lucky had some success in a tight spot yesterday. Had a hit in the top of the 9th. Trying to get another hit in a tough spot here. 2-2 the count. Pick back to second is not going to be in time. Diving back safely was Kavanaugh.
2 really good moves back to second, though, that we've seen in this game. Of course, the one from Drew Thorpe earlier. You don't usually see guys snap back to second base that quickly, but fortunately for Harwich, a little bit of a shorter lead that time.
McLaughlin staring down Kavanaugh. He'll step off.
And you have acres of prime real estate up the middle right now. You can see a heavy shift. Hoffman playing well off to the right side. So anything hit up the middle is going to have a chance unless it's near that second base bag where you've got Lee holding the runner on.
The pitch. This one sliced opposite field on a line towards the berm on that third base side. Gets down, count stays 2-2. Harwich, despite being down, out hitting YD so far in this one, 7-5.
Yeah, taking a little bit too much time there, McLaughlin, and obviously time called, a moment to think this next pitch over for Nick Lucky, who for a 2-2 count, it seems, has been at the plate for quite a while. He's been fighting off pitches, putting himself in a good position.
And he'll swing and miss at that one. Down goes Lucky. Second time he strikes out today. And the first strikeout of the appearance for the reliever McLaughlin. So we move now to the top of the 8th inning, where the Mariners are going to look to keep YD off the board for another frame. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Number 22, Brooks Lee.
Bringing it back now here at White House Field, Brooks Lee leading it off for YD in the top half of the 8th inning. Lee 1 for 3 so far on the evening. He was the final strikeout victim of Evan Shawver, his last at-bat in the 6th inning.
Really quickly, just kind of one more note here on Evan Shawver. It kind of went under the radar because, again, when he came here in 2019, he hadn't quite developed into the stud that he is now, but he has been named as one of the top 100 draft prospects, and more than likely will find himself a home in a major league organization when the draft happens here in the coming weeks. So that's kind of the other avenue, and I think something that certainly that I overlooked here. He may not stick around on the Cape for very long, especially if that is the case.
And even still, when you have a guy like that, as the pitch finds its way into the zone, count sitting at 1-2 right now, where they're already such a top talent, it really is just still beneficial for you to be able to come in and improve your draft stock. As this ball hit on the ground over towards the first baseman Jenkins, he handles it himself no problem. It feels like in situations like this where, if you don't have any real great outings, scouts understand your full picture. They're not going to hold it against you if in your few appearances on the Cape, maybe you're not totally up to snuff. Tough situation to come into and perform well, but when you're able to come in and pitch the way like he did today, I mean, that only helps.
It is kind of a roll of the dice, but you could see this as kind of a closing argument to try to bump yourself up a couple of a couple of spots. And certainly when you're talking about collegiate athletes who are not able to make money at that level, we won't go down that rabbit hole. But of course, a chance to, again, the higher you get drafted, the better chance you have of working your way through a system and potentially signing one of those deals. So this one swung on and missed, low and away, count even at 1-1.
Pascanel Ferreras at the plate. He'll ground one down the first base line, goes foul.
But we mentioned another one of those guys is the guy pitching right now. It's Bo Keithley. And we did know, again, talking to Coach Berger this season and some of the guys that he was really kind of hyping up before. It's another guy that they don't know how long they'll have him for, but while Keithley is here on the Cape, not only is he going to give Harwich some good innings, and Shawver going to give him some good innings, but some of these younger guys can kind of learn from them, and you want to glean as much of that information as you can in the opening couple of weeks.
Yeah, because you'll have a lot of guys who, of course, you have your all-SEC players who are able to make it here and perform, but you have a lot of mid-major colleges that you see how these guys perform. As down goes Ferreira swinging. Pitch was dropped. Throw down to first in time. So the third strikeout of the day for Ferreras. But talking about it, like these guys who perhaps aren't so familiar with a lot of these SEC schools or ACC, just this top collegiate baseball talent, you see these guys perform. You see them carry themselves a certain way, go about their business a certain way, and you start to just adapt that into your own performances. So it's not even talking to them, getting direct pointers, just watching them and really seeing how they go about their business can change your perspective on things and kind of change how you as a player tend to operate. As the first pitch dealt into the new batter, Baez is in for a strike.
Well, it is kind of a cheesy metaphor, but again, you talk about, you've got little fish, or you've got big fish in little ponds, and you've got little fish in big ponds with some of these conferences.
Ball hit towards Hood at short, ate him up, throw on to first. Safe. A close play at the bag. Hood bobbled it, could not get it to go. As
looks like they're going to rule that a single here.
It would appear so, as some good base running from Baez out of the fourth spot.
It would have been tough, even if he had made the play. Obviously, it was close at first, but it still would have been tough to get him. So it looks like ruling that a hit for Baez. That'll bring Peyton Graham up. But really quickly, just to go back and finish that thought again, you've got the big fish in the little pond at some of these mid-majors. You've got the little fish or the medium-sized fish in the big ponds in your big conferences. But everybody comes out into the Cape Cod League, and everybody's in one big ocean here this summer. And that's what we're going to find out, which one of those guys can swim and which one of those guys, in some cases will sink. It really is a proving ground of the most intense measure throughout the course of this 40-game, sometimes 50-game grind.